Welcome to our extended coverage as we continue tracking the conditions. Winter wonderland last night turned into quite a dangerous situation as we get into these morning hours on the roads.
Oh yeah, a lot of slick spots. We're going to get to all the traffic updates in just a moment. First, we want to head over to meteorologist Alex Pry and David Guerrero, who are standing by to give us the latest on the conditions. Guys, how is it looking out there? To come up.
Virtually the same as it was looking last night all across central Georgia. We're taking a live look at downtown Macon. So these are the parking decks right there by Atrium Navicent, still covered in white all across the roads, all across any kind of surface that you can find because temperatures are cold enough for all of this to stick. Let's take it over to downtown Dublin for a look down in Lawrence County. Virtually the same picture, and you can see how messy those roads are. Maybe seeing a little bit of a glimmer when you take a look at those roads, indicating some icy and slushy conditions that do not make it fun to drive in. And now a look at I-75 from the Georgia National Fairgrounds. Many 18-wheelers have made the wise decision to stop on the side of the road. Obviously, they are not comfortable driving in it. You guys should not be comfortable driving in it. The best advice we have all morning long will be to stay at home, enjoy what's left of the snow before venturing out on the roads until those road conditions do improve. We're hearing from multiple EMA directors all across central Georgia, along with the National Weather Service, and reports coming in that the roads are just a complete mess. Not only here up north of us in metro Atlanta, further down to the south, all around us here in central Georgia. So continue to be very cautious if you absolutely have to be out on those roads. But nonetheless, all of that frozen precipitation that we did see yesterday, it is continuing to stick with temperatures like these. We have not gotten above freezing temperature or even close to that 32-degree number over the last maybe 12 hours or so in central Georgia. And also, if you are venturing outside this morning, bundle up. It is mighty cold. Feels like numbers as low as 8 and 9 degrees in our western corridor in Thomaston and Butler. Also feels like 9 degrees up here in Macon-Bibb County. But as it stands right now, the snow has moved out. Cloud cover is now beginning to move out, holding on to a little bit down in our far southeastern corridor. Are we going to have a clear day today? That is going to be the story. How much of this frozen precipitation will melt? David Guerrero has a look at our future view right over here. David?
Well, that is right, but I just want to highlight that the National Weather Service just told us that they're going to allow our winter storm warning to expire, but still, we're still expecting travel hazards to be the main story for the rest of the day. And as Alex mentioned, here the future view shows mostly sunny weather for the rest of the day, so that's going to help some snow melt due to the sunshine, but temperatures will only be above freezing for a couple of hours, and then once the sun sets, then we're going to go right back to below freezing for the rest of the overnight, and the clouds will increase for Thursday, which will hurt further melting of the snow. So we have a weather impact alert for the rest of the morning. This could be extended. The impacts, of course, icy and slick roads, so the need to stay up to date with the changes and to please travel carefully. If you have to travel on the roads, please drive slowly and allow extra space in between you and the car in front of you. Alex Pry and I will continue to give you further updates to the forecast coming up.
All right, David and Alex, thank you so much. Dublin, Lawrence County, one of the areas where we saw a lot of impacts. We saw a lot of snow there, but that means we're also seeing a lot of ice in some of those areas.
Oh yeah, we did talk to Celine earlier. She's been live there all morning long. She talked about how the ice is just covered over the roads there, and even her and her photographer, Colin Hammock, had a slick situation at some point. We're going to go back out live to her with the latest conditions at this 7 o'clock hour. Celine, how's it looking out there?
All right. Having some trouble with her microphone, but as she's been telling us all morning long, a lot of the roads just covered in ice. You know, she saw some people who were driving, but driving slowly. But again, hopefully those are just essential workers, because if you do not have to be on the road, then we are encouraging you to please stay off the roads. All right, we're going to check in now with Peach County EMA Director Ryan Roberts this morning as we continue to look at road conditions across our area. Good morning, sir. Can you hear us?
Good morning. I can.
All right, so what are you seeing out there in Peach County as we get into these morning hours?
The roadways are extremely hazardous. Interstate 75 in the wee AM hours this morning was basically a parking lot. It was impassable.
And what are some areas in Peach County that you're also seeing some issues other than the interstates? I know some of the smaller roads and secondary roads are seeing some problems.
Highway 96 has been a big one. It started right after 5 o'clock yesterday. All the roads are iced over and extremely hazardous. Anyone that doesn't need to be out needs to stay home.
And you know, that is really the message that we have been trying to get across to people all morning long, is to avoid these treacherous travel conditions, because it is frankly dangerous to be out there if you really have no business being out there. But I am curious, I mean, for your crews, safety of course is paramount, but how are you making sure that everyone is safe while also trying to get those stranded motorists, for example, off the road and into safety too?
Our 911 dispatch has been phenomenal over the last 24 hours. Our sheriff's office, fire departments, police departments in the city, they've been working in pairs and tandem. They've been going out checking on people. There's still some vehicles out on the roadways that haven't been moved yet, but they have done a fantastic job.
And you mentioned some vehicles still stranded in the roadways. Have you been able to get to the people in those cars, or are they still stranded out there as well?
Some are out there waiting on GDOT to get the road cleared. Some have had someone pick them up and get the car off the roadway and leave. So we've had both.
Well, at least there is some progress to report at this hour, that's for sure, because we have seen a lot of those traffic incidents, and we're still waiting to get reports on when those cars will be removed and people can get to safety. I think those are all the questions that we have. I mean, clearly just outlining that right now, frankly, the roads are a mess, and we try not to be hyperbolic, but we do want to issue that warning to people that you don't need to be out in these roadways because you have stranded motorists, you have semi-trucks, and even emergency vehicles that are out there trying to help people so that they can stay safe this Wednesday morning, this very snowy and icy Wednesday morning. We do thank you for talking with us, Ryan Roberts, and hopefully we'll get to talk with you at some point again this morning. But you guys stay safe, and thank you for all that you are doing.
We are continuing to follow road conditions across central Georgia. Really, the underlying thing, they're a mess.
Yes.
Whether it's the interstate, whether it's a secondary road, they're a mess. We're hearing from EMA directors, sheriff's offices, even State Department of Transportation saying, hey, look, please don't get out on the roads. So we're going to continue to send that message out and continue checking in across central Georgia. First, though, we're going to head on over to Alex Pry. He's getting us the latest on conditions that we're seeing right now.
Absolutely. Yes, I know it does seem very, very repetitive. We have said it many times throughout this morning. Someone definitely needs to keep a little clock tick about how many times we say that. But yes, stay off the roads if you can. It is a complete mess out there. But what's not a complete mess? This image right now. So it is looking beautiful over downtown Macon as we're beginning to see the sunrise. Once again, going to have our fair share of sunshine today. It's just going to take quite a while for those temperatures to warm up all across central Georgia. But continuing to take a look at some of your photos. Before I get there, you can see it feels like 9 degrees outside in downtown Macon. So bundle up if you're venturing out early this morning. Continuing to see all these pictures roll in. This is Miss Stella Rose Markle, her first snow down in Cochrane, and that is just quite adorable right there. All the smiles on kids' faces, all the pets. Continuing to send those photos in is very crucial, not only to just see how you are enjoying this once in maybe about a 10-20 year event here in central Georgia, but also you guys are our eyes and ears out there in order to get readings for snowfall amounts all across central Georgia. So please continue to send those in, especially this morning, to kind of see where snowfall totals do stand, maybe seeing some improvement on the roads and such. So temperatures are mighty cold, as I did mention. Now that we're getting closer to sunrise, you can expect maybe about in an hour and a half, 2 hours, finally these temperatures will begin to warm up. But right now the feels like number is really the story, especially if you're venturing outside. How about feels like 6 degrees in Warner Robins this morning? Absolutely not. If this keeps going, we could very well flirt with maybe the low single-digit values. If we get close to zero, I don't even know what to do. It is just downright cold all across central Georgia. So it makes sense we have a cold weather advisory in place. Wind chill values from 5 to 15 degrees all across central Georgia until 9 a.m. this morning. We very well could have the same story tomorrow morning as temperatures are expected to drop to similar values that they are at as of right now. But the big update that David Guerrero did just give, all of central Georgia taken out of this winter storm warning as of 7 a.m. That did expire from the National Weather Service, but obviously not out of the woods yet. We are still dealing with travel implications all across central Georgia. So David, I took up a lot of time right there, but you still have some supplemental information that we need to go over. What do you have for us?
That's right. So the main headlines for today is, of course, we're going to have only a few hours during the afternoon and evening where we'll be above freezing. So with that, most of the frozen precipitation will be stuck to the ground. So please avoid traveling if you have to. And if you have to travel, please drive slowly and allow extra spacing between you and the car in front of you. So here's the 7-day forecast. Our weather impact alert is in effect for the rest of the morning. This could continue for the afternoon. Temperatures will gradually warm up throughout the weekend. Next rain chance Monday and Tuesday.
Alex and David, thank you. We had some issues with Celine's microphone earlier. We're going to check back in with her to see what she's seeing out in Dublin this morning. Celine?
Hey, good morning from Dublin, Georgia, where we are very cold, but we are in good spirits because guess what? It looks beautiful out here. Oh my goodness. If it's safe for you to walk around, I recommend it. I don't recommend driving unless you absolutely need to, but it is so pretty to take a look at. I'm like, where was this during the week of Christmas? Because it really feels like a winter wonderland out here. And I can tell you, we are hearing crunching from cars driving down this road. We are on 441 near kind of like the motel strip, I call it, where the McDonald's is. And actually, I was talking to our hotel front desk employee this morning. Shout out to him and all the essential workers working today. And he was saying he lives out in the county about 15 minutes away from where we are. And it took him 30 minutes to get into work today. His car almost slipped out 3 times, you guys. Cars are driving so slowly as they should. But even still, it's kind of dangerous. It's definitely a little bit icy. We drove the car less than, I don't know, a block just around our hotel parking lot to bring it up here. And it's kind of dangerous if it's not totally defrosted. There is still a lot of snow on the ground. It's hard to see the lanes exactly. It's clearing up a little bit more now that the sun has risen, but it is not really a time to just go for a joyride around town. We've been saying that really because we don't want to see anybody get into a car accident. Shout out to everybody driving around. Please do it safely if you are driving around to get into work. Reporting live in Dublin, Georgia, Celine Air of 13W MAZ News.
All right, Celine, thank you. Again, she's saying a lot of crunching on the roads, a lot of people slipping and sliding. So if you don't have to be on the roads, don't stay home. Stay home. That's really the message of the morning, because we want you to stay safe. We want our EMA directors to stay safe too, and all of our emergency personnel.
And hats off to them, because they have been working tirelessly this morning to rescue those stranded motorists and people who need to get to safety. It was really remarkable. Celine said that hotel manager too, it took him 30 minutes to get to work, really just emphasizing how terrible really the conditions are. Freehar Brar has been live in the 13 WMAZ newsroom all morning long, tracking the latest road conditions. You had a slew of road closures at 6 o'clock. Freehar, how are things now?
Well, about a half hour ago, GDOT issued a statewide ice alert. And right now, almost every single street in central Georgia's iced or blocked off. Most of the roads in the area across are just a big sheet of ice, and that includes the interstate highways. Now, a few hours ago, Houston Emergency Management Agency posted that every street in the county is impacted. And Georgia's 511 Twitter page is keeping us updated too. We just saw they tweeted all lanes are blocked on I-16 West near Segota Road. And since we started hearing about reports of crashes and lane closures over 12 hours ago now, we're still hearing there's stalled lanes with no movement. People even called into the newsroom earlier to let us know that they're driving up north I-75 towards Bibb County, and they're seeing several semi-trucks struggling to drive up the hill. And once they're there, there's even further delays as crews have to go car to car, waking people up who've been stranded in their cars for hours. Now, on Facebook, the Emergency Management Agency in Monroe County posted about roads being blocked off. That includes 41 South and Shy Road. A U-Haul truck is stranded in the southbound lane. At Blount and Gar Road, a stranded car is at the intersection. Smith Road between Collier Road and Harper Lane, there's over 20 vehicles scattered along the ditches. And at 75 northbound at the 190 mile marker to Johnsonville Road, that extends back to Juliet Road. They're still in the process of being cleared from an earlier blockage. Now, in the it's just a crazy situation overall. I mean, the northbound lanes of I-75 north near Highway 42 and Lee Street, we showed you about an hour ago, it's in Monroe County. That crash cleared, but we're still seeing the lanes not moving. Now, it's likely because of a stall at the I-75 northbound area near High Falls. All lanes are blocked off there. As for problem areas, a crash is blocking all lanes on I-16 west near Segota Road. We heard on the police scanner earlier in our newsroom at Bass Road and Sweetbriar Trail, a semi-truck is blocking the road off. Also, I-16 west is closed in Bibb County at the I-75 split. And we heard in the newsroom that the bridges at the interchange are also very icy, so be very careful if you have to drive over those. Now, near Highway 96 in Houston County and I-75, blocked both ways there. Ice is preventing people from driving through that area, I-75 south at Sardis Church Road as well in Bibb County because of ice. And I-75 north in Dooley County is blocked near Hawkinsville Road. Now, it's a crazy situation everywhere, as you can tell. We'll try to pull up some video right now of GDOT's 511 traffic camera over Interstate 475 in Bibb County. Reported an accident there late last night where a tractor trailer jack knifed. Now it looks like it's just stranded drivers there who are still stuck. So as you can tell, roads are just a complete mess. People had to spend their nights in their cars. Someone even emailed us in the newsroom to let us know that they've been stuck with hundreds of cars on I-75 north near Forsyth with nowhere to go for 8 hours. They're low on gas. It's a terrifying situation we're going to continue to check on. Side roads are frozen across central Georgia. So the best advice you're going to get today, you've been hearing it from us, stay home, enjoy what's left of the snow safely from your home. We're continuing to check in with our local EMA directors, sheriff's offices, and we're monitoring Georgia's 511 as well for any travel problems. Live in the newsroom, Farihab Bar 13, WMAZ News. We'll check back in with you after the break.
Virtually all of our viewing area is covered in snow and ice. We have been keeping tabs on things that have been happening in our respective counties in central Georgia. We've also been talking to EMA directors. Of course, they are the people who know best what's happening there. Right now on the phone, we have Lawrence County EMA Director Billy Laird. Can you hear me, Billy?
It's Bill. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Bill, good morning to you, man. Just kind of paint the picture. What's happening in Lawrence County right now? We have our reporter, Celine Arif, who's kind of been giving us the conditions, but what are you guys dealing with?
The roads are pretty covered. Snow, ice mix, you know, pretty dangerous, hazardous driving conditions, pretty much countywide.
Now, we keep telling people to stay home. We have seen some people in Celine's live shots driving around. Have you had any issues with people getting stuck? Any accidents that you're having to respond to this morning?
As of right now, we're caught up, but all through the night, local law enforcement have been assisting stranded motorists in the city of Dublin as well as countywide.
Any particular areas that were worse than others?
We had several on I-16, 441 calls, just some of the major routes.
And I know you all are working tirelessly at this point to try to clear those roads and help those people who need. What does that process look like for you all? Because one thing that the governor and GEMA and GDOT officials said yesterday is that they're allocating a lot of resources like salt and brine to our southern counties. Did you all receive those resources, and how are you kind of spreading them out to make sure that refreezing that is imminent tonight, when it does happen, that people are safe?
About the only thing we can do, we have received those resources. Like you had mentioned, we have been assisted, on some local bridges and routes by GDOT. Our public works crews are, trying to check the bridges and make sure that they're okay. But the big problem is, like you guys said earlier, we're barely going to get above freezing. Today's current road temperatures right now are 28, 29 degrees for surface temperatures on the road. So, how much is going to melt, and then when it refreezes tonight, it's going to be pretty serious problems for what we're expecting and trying to prepare for.
Well, Mr. Laird, we thank you for chatting with us this morning. We thank you for all the work you all have been doing overnight, keeping people safe as possible, especially those stranded drivers out there. We're going to continue to check in with our EMA directors across Central Georgia, kind of getting a feel for what everything is looking like this morning. Of course, thankfully, a lot of schools are closed today, so that way students and families are able to stay home and stay off the roads.
We're going to pop up a list of the latest school closures that we have at this hour. Houston, Bibb, Peach, Lawrence County schools remaining closed today.
First Presbyterian Day School, John Millage Academy, Macon private schools have also announced that they are closed for the day.
Jones, Baldwin, and Monroe schools are announcing they're learning from home today.
Meanwhile, Coney Fall Line Technical College and Georgia Military College have closed their campuses. Fort Valley State is having online classes today. And you can find the full list of updated closures and changes right now on 13WMAZ.com. Of course, we don't see snow often here, but when the winter weather makes its way south, it can be quite a mess, as we've been sharing with you all morning long. Sleet and snow, it just produces dangerous driving conditions. Black ice, a big one of those. So this is how you should handle it if you do get out on the roads this morning and you run into trouble. Don't hit the brakes. Keep your steering wheel steady.
Oh yes, Caitlin, I can tell you I've been in so many icy situations before. My past being from Arkansas, we have a lot of ice storms there, and the worst thing you can do in these kind of situations is panic. Take your foot off of the gas if you find yourself in this situation. Don't try to overcorrect your steering if you begin to slide, because you're going to make matters worse. Let me tell you from experience.
The best tip overall, just avoid the roads altogether.
Stay home
then you
if
don't
you
have to do it. All right, now statewide, we've been seeing a lot of reports of calls and crashes. State reporting 56 total crashes,
Wow.
240 phone calls. I'm sure that number is just going to continue to grow as we continue to get updates this morning.
I mean, and this is truly remarkable because this area obviously is not accustomed to seeing this kind of winter weather. And I will say much adulation to the crews, their preparedness ahead of time, with the governor issuing the state of emergency and those GDOT crews really working hard to prepare the words ahead of time. But it seems like today at the 7:23 current time on this Wednesday morning, as the sun rises, we're seeing more and more of those issues pop up, and we're going to see that as we progress through the day. So biggest thing, just stay safe out there.
And of course, the state was saying yesterday, and I'm sure they're going to reiterate today, they are trying to get out there to clear some of these roads as best they can. So they're asking you to give them space to do that.
Yes, please, as they work to clear these roads. Let's take a listen from a soundbite that we heard at the governor's press conference yesterday.
We need that space to work. Those miles of roads don't clear themselves. We've got to get those trucks out there. We've got to get involved. As you might imagine, South Georgia's not accustomed to a lot of snow and ice, and so it's different there. The roads are different. There's a lot of dirt roads that have to be treated differently than just snow plows and brine and things of that nature. So we're going to have to focus on that and making sure we give a proper recovery.
Good advice from state officials. You've been hearing all morning long from the EMA directors that we've talked to that they've had to rescue stranded motorists and people that have slid off the road, and they need the proper space so that they can do this safely. However, if you find yourself driving and you are stopped or stalled, take a look at your screen right now. We have some steps that you can take. Of course, stay in your vehicle until rescuers are most likely to find you.
Don't start walking unless you see a building or a shelter close by. Run your engine and your heater for about 10 minutes each hour so you can keep warm and conserve your battery and gas.
So let's take a moment to look at conditions around the world. Caitlin, you were telling me that your family member in Florida saw some snow yesterday. I have family members in New Orleans and Mississippi, and this is something they've never seen before. What you're looking at right now is in Florida. The Jacksonville International Airport closing overnight for the first time in years because of snow. Airport leaders there say the last time they closed was more than 5 years ago because of a hurricane. The closing canceled close to 100 flights, and they plan to reopen around noon today.
My brother's in the Panhandle, and they were sledding yesterday.
Wow,
which
in
is just
Florida?
great. In Florida.
Never heard of that.
This is the ice blast that Texas got yesterday. This morning, people are still seeing snow on the ground out in Texas, but a lot of people thought snow would clear up. Texas's Department of Transportation says no, coast is not clear yet either. It's still unclear when their roads will be safe as well. Of course, a lot goes into making sure that those roads are cleared. All right, of course, there's a lot of impacts as we go through the day to day, as we keep all of our, people safe. A lot of businesses and governments are closing. That's also delaying trash pickup to some areas, especially in Macon Bibb. No trash routes are running today. They're shifting their routes back a day. So if your trash pickup is today, that will move to Thursday, so on and so forth. If you're in Jones County, there will be no trash pickup today. Now, this is important. There will be no makeup days for any days missed. Instead, trash will be picked up on the regular schedule next week. As of now, Thursday and Friday trash will be picked up, but will be running later than normal. But they ask that you just be patient with them on the timing of that.
Final safety note here, a lot of you have generators in case you do lose power. If your power does go out, you want to make sure that you are using the generator correctly in safety. Of course, that is paramount during these power outages. Officials warn that generators must be outside at least 10 to 6 feet away from your home in a well-ventilated area to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning too. Never run a generator indoors. That is a big no-no, including in garages, and allow it to cool before refueling to avoid any fire challenges. As temperatures drop overnight, generators can help power essential things, but only when used safely. So if your power does go out and you don't have a generator, layer up and seal your home to retain as much heat as you possibly can. Experts say heavy blankets and closely monitored space heaters can also be a big help in those kind of situations. Here's a quick look at guys having a blast in the snow. This is Malegacy Hicks figuring out how to feel about her first snow. I don't know. It's not like she has a stoic look. I imagine she's excited, but it's like, what is this white substance dropping from the sky,
I mean, you got to imagine, a lot of us haven't seen snow in a while, and we're surprised. So someone who's never seen snow, I'm sure it's exciting for them. This 13 WMAZ viewer all bundled up in Macon, but all smiles while enjoying the weather yesterday as well.
And Ivy, RJ, and Zoe were enjoying the snow and Macon Bibb. Only a light dusting where they were, but certain areas saw a lot more overnight. Wow, I love seeing these pictures. Please keep sending them in so we can show them off all morning.
We're also taking a look at the amount of snow that people are getting. We've been getting reports and pictures of people showing their tape measures, which is very helpful to us as we're trying to track which areas are seeing the most snow. So we're going to check in with David Guerrero now, who has a look at what you're seeing out in central Georgia.
That's right. So from the 13 WZ Weather Network, all of the measurements have been vital for us to create this map. So here's a little recap. We're seeing that the lowest totals, of course, this correlates with the forecast. We've seen the lowest totals in towards the north in Jasper County at 1 inch. But if you notice the lightly shaded blue totals, that means that those totals were outdated, meaning they were taken earlier in the day. So we think that they're going to be inaccurate. But if you notice, as the more south we go, the totals increase. Bibb County reaching a total of 2 inches. And then once we get into Houston County, we actually have 6 inches reported in Bon Air and in Perry. And then the highest total so far that we've seen is in Chris County. A man in Cordele took a picture showing 7 inches of snow so far. And if I extend the view, you see the yellow highlighted colors onto your counties. That means that your county has officially broken your snowfall record. So counties that are under this is Chris, Wilcox, Telfair, Dodge County, Bleckley County, Houston County, and Johnson County. So those are the numbers so far. We expect further updates as more people continue to send their pictures of measurements onto the 13WZ Weather Network.
All right, David, thank you so much. Now, if you do have to be outside today, of course, you need to stay warm. It is cold out there. The temperatures are frigid. Also be mindful of the signs of hypothermia if you're out there too long. A person will have slow, shallow breathing, confusion or memory loss, drowsiness or exhaustion, slurred or mumbled speech. as well as loss of coordination, like fumbling hands or stumbling steps, and a slow, weak pulse. Officials are urging people to check up on your elderly neighbors and critical patients that are in your neighborhoods.
Good signs to watch out for. Bundle up if you do have to be outside, of course. Look at this. This is really cool. This photo sent by Crystal is a panoramic photo along their street, and you can see all those footprints and tracks along the driveway. And it is really cool to see these panoramic views and all of these pictures that we are seeing from this, what I would like to call remarkable snowfall that we saw last night. I was outside my apartment complex just walking around, taking it all in. And it was so interesting to see that the snow kept piling up. I was like, is it ever going to stop,
It's something that we obviously don't see here often in central Georgia, and something a lot of people are excited about. Also something that can bring some dangerous conditions, as we're talking about this morning. But let's check in with Alex Pry. He has the latest look at what we're going to be seeing as we go through the rest of today.
Absolutely. But as we know, all good things must come to an end. The snow showers have moved out of central Georgia as of this morning, but we are still left with beautiful spectacles all across the area. Here's downtown Dublin for you, one area that did receive more snowfall further down to the south, just like we were forecasting in the days leading up. But I did say there's a scenario where we underachieve and there's a scenario where we overachieve, and we definitely overachieved here in central Georgia in terms of those snowfall amounts. So like we said, you guys are our eyes and ears all throughout this morning. Continue to send those measurements in to the Weather Network. Right now here is Mary Ann Steinker held, and this is in Bon Air, Georgia. And this is the highest total we have seen in Houston County, I do believe. 6 inches of snow over in East Houston County. That's why we updated the map that you just saw that David Guerrero showed you. And yes, of course, that is good enough to break a record in Houston County. So what's going to happen with the snow throughout the course of today? We continue to tell you to stay off the roads. There's icy conditions, still snowfall sticking to the ground. Well, that's because temperatures are well below freezing all across central Georgia. The lowest actual temperature, 10 degrees down in Macon County and Montezuma. And the feels like numbers are taking it a step further. Feels like 6 degrees in Unadilla, Warner Robins, and Roberta. A bit of a breeze is making these wind chill values dip well below what their actual temperatures are, as if the actual temperatures weren't cold enough already this morning. So the big stories this morning are cold weather advisory. Obviously, you just saw those feels like numbers I showed you. This will go until 9 a.m. this morning. Just because this gets cut off at 9 a.m. doesn't mean it's still not going to be cold. We are going to be below freezing temperature until we get to about 12 p.m., 1 p.m. later on this afternoon. But we have been taken out of our winter storm warning here in central Georgia. That expired about 30 minutes ago. Still, winter weather impacts are going to continue to be seen as long as this frozen precipitation stays stuck to the ground. So here's a look at our satellite and radar picture. You can see obviously it is pretty quiet here in central Georgia, but if I go ahead and zoom out, you can see all of that winter weather riding up the Atlantic coast. Cloud cover has exited central Georgia. That's what's allowing our temperatures to drop so low as we continue about the morning hours. And taking a look at future view, what's going to happen in terms of temperatures, in terms of cloud cover today? Well, we will get our fair share of sunshine, which will be good, but it's only going to be a slim window where we are above freezing temperature, and even then only talking about 3 to 4 degrees above that freezing temperature number. So about 5-6 p.m. is when we will finally go back below freezing temperature. Anything that does melt today is going to refreeze overnight before we get into a cloudy Thursday. Temperatures may hover a degree or two warmer Thursday for afternoon highs, but we won't have as much sunshine present to melt any of that frozen precipitation at the surface. So it remains to be seen how long these impacts are going to be seen here in central Georgia. So our best advice that we will continue to tell you all throughout the morning is stay off the roads at all costs. If you have to be on the roads, please be very, very careful. Take the proper precautions before driving in that wet slush all across central Georgia, and especially look out for black ice and utilize those tips that we did just give you. So only a few hours this afternoon that we're going to be warm enough to melt any of this frozen precipitation, so it will remain stuck to the ground. It will be important to be very diligent and listen out for updates as we continue to get reports in from local EMA directors. Frederick, Caitlin.
All right, thank you so much, Alex. Hey, let's have a little fun this morning, though. Let's take a look at some of the photos that you've been sending us. This is Miss Nella enjoying the flurries and her little winter coat there. I love that.
Taking a trip over to Dublin now. It is Bear and Aiden's first snow day. They look so cute and they look so excited, too.
Oh, all bundled up. Joyce Robinson sent us this photo. It looks like there was a bit of a snowball fight down in Milledgeville.
Oh, I love a good snowball fight. You got to be careful with them, though. Let's go over to Jones County. Case in there saw snow for the first time. I really love seeing, I remember when I was a kid, when I saw snow for the first time, and just how magical it is. And I really, really do hope that these kids really understand how magical and how rare this is in this area, too, because they all look so excited.
I know, you just love seeing their little smiles lighting up, just like this guy. This is Mr. Colson enjoying a snowy drive out on his tractor there.
And how about this? The leadership team over at Fairview Park Hospital sheltered in place for winter weather. We're glad that they snapped this picture and enjoyed the snow for a few minutes. And thank you for all that you do. And that really is a good message there, is that, we tell people all the time, if you don't have to be out on these roads and battle these treacherous conditions, don't. But there are so many people like our emergency first responders who cannot, and we cannot thank them enough for all that they do to help keep us safe.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back right after this. Good morning, 7:37 on the clock this morning. Thank you for joining us for our extended coverage as we continue to monitor conditions that we are seeing across central Georgia. A snowy day yesterday turning into some treacherous conditions in parts of our area this morning.
To say the least, we have been monitoring them all morning long, and it seems as the sun goes up, we are seeing more and more issues happening in our central Georgia counties. We have been trying to get some perspective from our EMA directors in our respective counties to see how conditions are there. A lot of us telling us that they are seeing a lot of roads encrusted with ice and some stranded motorists and people that have slid into danger. So we're continuing to monitor that with EMA Director Christina Bramlett from Monroe County. Good morning, Christina. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Thank you guys for having us on.
Thank you so much for being here bright and early with us. I know you guys have been so busy the last 24 hours preparing and making sure that everyone is okay, but kind of set the scene and let us know, what are conditions there in Monroe County, Christina?
Indeed, what we really want people to understand that this isn't patchy ice. This is edge-to-edge ice. There might be one random spot that doesn't have complete ice coverage, but for the most part, solid sheet of ice. It is very treacherous to navigate, especially these tractor trailers. They are pursuing some side roads and then proceeding to, not intentionally, of course, but get jackknifed, and people are sliding. We rescued, though, with City of Forsyth Fire as well as us, we picked up over 15 people, and brought them to a warming shelter over the middle of the night that had gotten stranded on a back road. The Georgia DOT have done a phenomenal job with the resources that they have to try to open up roadways. We had a significant backup on the 191 that caused miles and miles of just standstill traffic. Thankfully, they are now starting to move and make their way north. But again, this is not any type of roadways to be trying to drive on.
I'm glad you were able to find some of those people some shelters overnight to stay warm. As far as conditions this morning, how are you all able to get out there and help some of those drivers who are still stranded and staying safe yourself?
Very slowly, very methodically. We are doing the best that we can. Our ambulances have tire chains on them. We are certainly utilizing our four-wheel drive on our utility vehicles. And we're just encouraging people just to hang tight, stay at home, stay off the roadways.
And that is what we have been reiterating here all morning long. Christina, thank you so much for being here with us, and hats off to you all for handling this as best as you can. It doesn't happen in this area every day, but when it does, you guys are certainly prepared, and I hope that things continue to improve down there.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to check in now with our Camila Williams. Of course, we're seeing conditions all across central Georgia and here in our own studio and station.
Oh, yeah, like I said, it doesn't happen every day. She's live in our backyard garden. Camila, how is it going out there? It's really snowy. Some of the benches and tables out there are filled with snow.
Yeah, let me just say, it's pretty cold out here, but it's not so bad. And I know many kids are probably get just ready to wake up, and they're looking out the window because they didn't have school, but they are really excited for the reason why they didn't have school. They're waking up to this winter wonderland. I know they didn't get it at Christmas, but we can imagine that it feels like Christmas today. So let me just say, when you pick this up, it's not that moldable kind. It's like very fluffy, like it's just falling apart. So the kids may have a little bit of trouble, trying to make a snowman. But hey, it's great weather to, make a nice little snow angel in. Now, I'm not going to get in it, but speaking of those snow angels, that means they're probably going to go outside and they're going to be in the snow all day. So I'm going to show you what it looked like last night, actually, in our backyard garden. Just plenty of snow falling right here. This was taken around like 7:30 around that time, and it is just coming down really fast. I know I sped it up a little bit so you can see how fast it was going, how much it was. It was going on for a good minute like that. But for the kids that do plan on going outside, who are just really excited to get out in the snow, let me give you just a few tips. So the first one, you're going to have your base layer. So think like your long johns, your thermal long sleeves, those type of things. And then you're going to go with a middle base. So like a fleece jacket or a sweater. That's what I've got on under here. And then you're going to go with the big coat and those big rain-proof pants, waterproof pants actually, and those are things that are gonna be the double up zippers or just things to keep them warm from head to toe. But speaking of things they're gonna need on their head, you gotta make sure you cover it up with a hat or a beanie, something to cover up their ears like earmuffs. If they have a puff like mine, curly thick hair, the hat may not work, but we've got this nice little ear band that's working out for me, and it can work out for your kids too. And don't forget the gloves, because they're going to want to be playing in the snow. And if they plan on being out for a long time, you want to make sure you kind of limit their risk to frostbite. So if they're spending a lot of time out in the snow, just make sure they have some gloves, check in once in a while, make sure they're good. And then lastly, the snow boots. And if your child doesn't have proper boots, shoes are okay, but I do have a childhood tip that I used growing up: plastic bags. So those grocery bags that you kind of have laying around the house that we kind of use for like the bathroom trash bin or in our room, those go perfectly to keep their feet warm. So you're going to put on you can either do either way actually. You can do the sock and then the plastic bag and then the snow boot or their gym shoes, which is a way that I recommend. But some people may, you know, double up on the bag, then the socks, just to help that way. And I'm telling you, you're going to make sure, most importantly, you just have fun. You enjoy the day with your kids if you're going to get out with them. Make sure you keep sending us photos of what it looks like in your area. And I'm telling you, enjoy the day, but make sure you stay warm and stay safe. Back to you guys.
Oh, good tips, Camila. The bag, that's a good one.
It really is. You know, she's from Ohio, so, you know, she knows a thing or two about snow. I really appreciate that, Camila.
She mentioned sending in pictures. We have gotten a couple great ones. Taylor and Ladybug built this great snowman in Cochrane. His little hat, he's got a scarf on. Very creative. We love to see it.
I don't think people understand how tedious it is to build a snowman. It requires a lot of hard work and hours. Look at these twins. Oh, Jackson and Bennett having a great time in the snow. And Caitlin, you were here yesterday. You know, you stayed the night at the station because you wanted to make sure that you were safe so that you could provide Central Georgians with the most up-to-date information. But my goodness, I'm so glad you could get these pictures into us because they look like they're having a good time.
Oh, they had a great time. And I think they've seen videos of snow and videos about Christmas and stuff. So they kept saying happy holidays. And I was like, you know, that's close enough, buddy. It is a holiday for sure. They were having a great time. I'm excited to see videos of them going out today when there's even more snow out there.
Oh, no, and I know you're ready to get back home to see them, too, to maybe play in it. Check this video out from Paige. This is snowfall over in Toomsboro. It looked very peaceful last night. It was very peaceful last night, let me tell you. It looks like there's a good amount of snow on the ground there, too. Paige measured nearly 3 inches of snow with her ruler, something you don't see every winter here in Central Georgia.
It does look just so peaceful in that video. Oh, look at this, some fun here. One of our viewers sent in this video making a snow angel down in Dublin. Very good form there.
I'm so glad that people are getting to experience all of these wonderful things that make me happy. Take a look at this heavy snowfall happening in Perry just before midnight. Our crews were there to capture this, and that was really the scene for a lot of Central Georgia yesterday. At moments, at least here in Macon, outside of my window, I did notice that the snowfall was coming down pretty heavily. And it started accumulating pretty fast. And I was out walking around, you know, just trying to be in the moment because this obviously doesn't happen every day. And there was a kid that was coming down a hill and he said, "Sir, do you want to sled with me?" And I said, "I'm 25 going on 85. I may actually break a bone, but you have fun though." And it's just really nice to see people out and about, but also staying safe too, because safety is paramount in these very frigid and treacherous conditions.
Yeah, speaking of frigid, it is frigid outside. So please, as Camila said, bundle up if you're going outside. And it's going to stay cold as we go throughout the day. Let's head to Alex for a look at what we're expecting.
Now, Camila also said it wasn't that bad outside. I think many of you would like to argue that. Take a look at what it feels like here in downtown Macon. It feels like 9 degrees. So Camila, I know you're from the north and you're kind of used to it. We are not used to it down here in Central Georgia. So it is plenty cold for this snow to continue to stick on top of buildings, on top of benches, into the trees, and especially on the roads, which we will continue to tell you all throughout this morning. Taking a look at some more photos of what you're walking outside to this morning. This is in Twiggs County around the Huber area. Barbara Williamson sent in this photo. All of these cars completely covered in snow. You would think all of them had a white paint job because there is just so much snow on the ground. You're not even able to see patchy areas of grass. That's what we're used to when we start to see snowfall here in Central Georgia. Maybe about half an inch, an inch. You're still seeing areas of that grass on the ground. Not the case across almost all of Central Georgia this morning. Now this picture, it looks like it could be out of a Christmas movie. Hallie Smith sent this in from Dublin, obviously one of our areas that got more snowfall totals than other areas of Central Georgia, further down to the south, and that is just a splendid image to look at. But obviously the main concern now, since the snowfall has passed, when will it start to melt? When will conditions start to clear up on the roads? How long are you going to have to be cooped up at home? Hopefully many of you are enjoying the time off from work. But right now with these temperatures, obviously not good enough for snow to melt all across Central Georgia. 8 degrees in Montezuma and Unadilla, 7 degrees down in Americus. Everyone else just a little bit warmer, but seeing a pretty drastic temperature spread all across Central Georgia. In the lowest numbers, if you thought Macon felt like the coldest, actually Warner Robins and Unadilla take that cake, feeling like 6 degrees this morning. Hopefully we don't get much cooler than that. We are well underway with the sunrise, so a warming trend is expected. And in fact, let's take a look at those hour by hour temperatures. Still in the 20s for a majority of the morning. Finally noon, we're forecasted to hit that 32-degree mark and then climb just above it as we head throughout the afternoon hours, but not going to be a big window where temperatures will melt anything stuck at the surface. So still cold this morning. Important to remember, utilize all those tips that Camila Williams just gave you if you're venturing outside, wanting to go play in the snow a little bit this morning. And then our winter weather alert has gone away, but still winter weather impacts are going to linger across central Georgia as we go throughout today. I'll take it over to Future View really quick and play it through, and you'll see that we're going to have bright sunny skies today, but a slim window where we will get some melting of any frozen precipitation at the ground. And then tomorrow, temperatures are still going to start out below freezing. They're going to crawl a little bit higher than today, but we will have cloud cover present, so not as much sunshine in the picture in order to melt much going on. It remains to be seen how long we're going to see this frozen precipitation on the ground. But here's a look at your 7-day forecast. It's going to be cold, but I promise you there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Back closer to average, highs in the 50s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday with a slim rain chance as we begin next week. Obviously, we'll continue to monitor that and fine-tune the details, but the biggest concern for the short term is going to be those icy conditions on the roads. Continue to take all the proper precautions if you have to be on the roads, but avoid being on them at all costs as of right now.
Definitely a message we are sending out this morning as much as we can. Of course, we've been talking with EMA directors and people who've been working overnight tirelessly to get drivers who have been stranded on the road, stuck in crashes. We're talking now with Lane Adams with M&M Towing, fleet manager working for the towing company overnight. Can you hear us this morning? Not sure if he can hear us, but I can only imagine, the rescue crews are out there with EMA directors, sheriff's offices trying to rescue those stranded drivers, towing companies trying to get those trucks off the road. So we're going to try to see if we can check in with him because I'm sure he has plenty to tell from overnight.
He certainly is busy. We're going to take a quick break. We're back in just a moment with more on this winter weather coverage.
Welcome back. Time is now 7:53 as we continue our extended coverage of the conditions this morning. Once a winter wonderland last night, turning into some dangerous road conditions and icy conditions this morning.
To say the least. We have been checking in with EMA directors all across our area. They've been giving us insight and perspective on the situation in their respective counties. But now we want to talk to people who are out helping rescue people and recover cars that have unfortunately slid into danger. On the phone, Lane Adams with M&M Towing here in Macon. They are the fleet manager there. Been working the lines for the towing company overnight. Lane, can you hear us this morning?
I can.
Hey, good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. I know you guys are busy, so we're not going to keep you very long. But I am curious to know, Lane, what has been the situation for you all this morning? How many rescues have you had and what have you seen?
Man, it's crazy. I've had different units, different employees out pretty much the bulk of the night. Pretty much in between the hours of about 4 and now, it has just been, it's just untravelable. It's, having a really hard time getting out. You can't even hardly stand up on it, much less try to drive a truck and get across town on it. It's crazy. I'm not sure if Macon, Georgia has ever seen weather like this, or it hasn't that I know of in my lifetime. And it's just really difficult because you can't see it. Mm-hmm. You can't drive on it. It just makes it kind of tough. The only thing I really would ask our patrons and people in need is please be patient with with whatever wrecker company that you can find to come help. Please be patient because we're trying to get through it just like you are, and we're coming just as fast as we can.
Of course, a lot of areas where we're seeing a lot of cars, stranded and built up. A situation out on 475. Were you able to get out there and help some of the drivers that were stuck there?
I went out there. I had 3 units out there, and it had just got to the point where the tractor trailers, the road was so slick they could not climb the hills between a little bit north of Zebulon Road and just a little bit north of Thomaston Road. Mm-hmm. And it just got to the point where it's gridlocked, where we're going to have to allow the weather to kind of work with us a little bit so we can get crews back out there and start getting that cleared up. It's just, it's rough. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like this personally.
Lane, I got a quick question because you said you went out there to see it. Can you describe what you saw? How many semi-trucks and other vehicles were caught in that mess?
I'm not going to lie, it is a mess. It is going to take hours of road clearing, and Macon's going to have to buckle down and work as a team on this one. Mm-hmm. It's going to be tough. There's no lie, maybe hundreds of tractor trailers spinning, stuck in the road. It's crazy. It really does look like something maybe you would see in a movie.
Very telling description. We thank you, Mr. Adams, for joining us this morning, and thank you for the work that you and your crews are doing and have been doing all night long and into these morning hours. We have been talking all morning long to crews across our area. And it's not to be hyperbolic, but they really are emphasizing, of course, the importance to stay home, but just how terrible, for lack of a better term, it is out there, because he mentioned perhaps hundreds of semi-trucks and other vehicles combined caught in that mess, too, between the hours of 4 in the morning and to now. And hopefully things will get better, but as Alex and David have been forecasting, we only have a few hours of unthawing and then refreezing tonight, so we can only hope for the best, that is for sure. And as you heard some of our EMA directors say, it's not just patches of ice at this point, it's an entire sheet of ice on the ground. So really there's no avoiding it if you're going to be out on the roads. We've also been checking in across central Georgia with some of our crews. Celine Arif in Dublin this morning. She has been showing kind of the same thing we've been seeing everywhere, snow and ice all over the ground. We're going to check in with her now. Celine, what are you seeing now that the sun's starting to come up?
Hello from Lawrence County, Georgia. We are still out here and it looks even more beautiful now that the sun's come up and you can kind of see everything glistening. But want you to know, as pretty as it is, you can still hear crunching on the roads. It's still icy, you guys, for a lot of drivers out here. Please go slow. We've seen some cars go way too fast. We've also seen some cars driving out here that have not cleared their windows, like their back windows and stuff. Y'all, you need to see where you're going, especially in this snow. So we're just going to continue sending you updates from Dublin, Georgia, sending it back to you guys in the studio. For now, reporting live in Dublin, Celine Arif, 13 WMAZ News.
All right, Celine, thank you. It does look like a little winter wonderland out there behind her. Thankfully, no cars behind her driving around, which is what we like to see.
Yeah, people are heeding the warnings and staying home there, and it seems like the people who need to be out are out, at least in Dublin. Hopefully, you are doing that as well at home. Now, we are keeping track of traffic conditions in our area. Quite frankly, it is a mess outside. The roads, for lack of a better term, are treacherous, to say the least. Freha Bar has been on top of this all morning long. She's been in the newsroom working with our morning crew, and it seems like we have other crew members that are coming in at this time, kind of helping with this this very Herculean task. Freha, what is the latest right now? Because earlier you had a slew of things happening in our area.
Yeah, guys, about an hour ago, Perry Police Department actually posted on Facebook that all interstates in central Georgia are closed. You just heard from the Monroe County EMA director that this is not patchy ice, it's edge to edge ice. So we're hearing reports of black ice too. That's why the state issued an ice alert. So do not get on the roads unless it's an emergency. That'll help first responders get to people in need of help sooner rather than later. And since we started hearing reports of crashes and lane closures over 12 hours ago now, we're still hearing there's stalled lanes with no movement. People are calling into the newsroom earlier to let us know they're driving up north, and they're still seeing semis struggle to get up hills. So we're going to check back in with you after the break. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Faria Habra for 13 WMAZ News.
All right, Freha, thank you so much. Again, we are continuing to get many, many reports of those conditions, so we're going to continue to follow those and bring you the latest as we go throughout this morning. We're going to take a quick break, I believe, and we'll be back with more as we continue to monitor these snowy and icy conditions throughout central Georgia this morning.
See you in a bit.
Hello and thank you for joining us as we enter this 8 o'clock hour this morning, still covering plenty reports of Cars stranded, icy patches of roads across our area, which is why we are staying on the air this morning.
Quite a morning this has been, to say the least. We're going to have updates on all of those things in just a moment, but we want to take a break to understand how much snow fell in our central Georgia counties. And David Guerrera has been here telling us about that. And it seems like the southern half of our viewing area, David, got more than our northern half.
Yeah, that's right. And it matched with our past forecast where, yes, as you said, the southern half was expected to have more snow than the northern half. And so far, based off the reports and the measurements sent through the 13WZ Weather Network, this has verified. So if we look more towards the north in Jasper County, we see an inch of snow. And you could also tell that some of the counties do not have accumulations. That doesn't mean that you did not see snow. It just means that we haven't seen measurements from these counties. But all in all, the more south you go, the totals increase. So you see Bibb County having 2 inches of snow, Houston County seeing 6 inches of snow reported from Bon Air. And then, of course, getting down to the southwestern counties such as Crisp County, seeing the most amount of snowfall at around 7 inches of snow reported from Cordele. You can also tell some lightly shaded accumulations in blue. That just means that those accumulations were outdated, taken earlier yesterday. So we do expect these accumulations to be higher in totals. Now, if we take a look at these yellow highlighted shades across these counties, that just means that these counties have officially broken the records for the highest total snowfall. So we can see Crisp County, Wilcox County, Telfair County, Dodge County, Bleckley, Houston, and Johnson County officially breaking these records. So far, this is what we have received. We expect more updates, especially from the 13WZ Weather Network, or any comments or any images submitted to our newsroom.
Thank you so much. Of course, we don't see this often, which is why it is so exciting. But when the winter weather makes its way to our area, of course, it can create a bit of a mess. We're seeing all these dangerous driving conditions. Black ice, one of the most dangerous. So if you are out on the roads and you run across black ice, this is how you need to handle it. Georgia Department of Transportation says do not hit the brakes. Keep your steering wheel steady.
Worst thing you can do in this situation is panic. Take your foot off the gas if this does happen, and don't try to overcorrect your steering if you do begin to slide. Some important advice there, as black ice, the threat of it is imminent tonight as temperatures continue to drop.
Now, of course, the best way to avoid it is just avoid it altogether, and that we don't have to deal with it. Now, of course, we are seeing a lot of reports of calls, crashes, drivers needing help. So this is some statewide numbers we're getting from Georgia State Patrol. 56 total crashes, 240 phone calls. As we've heard from a lot of EMA directors, though, this morning, those numbers continue to grow as people are trying to get out on the roads right now.
And it is because of the ice that is on the road. I mean, we're not talking, as one EMA director, I think it was Christina Bramlett, talked about, it's not just patches of ice. It is quite literally sheets of ice encrusted on the roadways right now. And it is certainly a mess out there. Right now on the phone, we have a stranded driver. Her name is Lynn. Lynn, can you hear us this morning?
I can.
Hi there, Lynn. Good morning to you. I understand you're running out of gas. To kind of tell us, you're 475. Where exactly in 475 are you right now?
I, first of all, am not running out of gas. I think that's somebody else.
Okay.
But I turned onto 475 right off of I-75. I'm right before Bolingbroke.
And can you kind of just paint the picture for us, Lynn? What are you seeing right now, and how long have you been in traffic this morning?
I've been in traffic at a dead standstill since 11 o'clock last night.
Oh my.
And when we first got in traffic, the northbound was completely blocked with traffic. It has since been cleared, and there is it's just deserted now. Every once in a blue moon, I'll see 1 or 2 cars come down northbound, but southbound has been completely stagnant since 11 o'clock last night. No movement. Everything's completely iced over at this point. I don't even know. It's not good. We've seen, when we first got here, there were approximately 2 or 3 tow trucks that came past us and 1 police car, and that is it. That is it. No more emergency vehicles, no more. You know, we got a Georgia alert this morning saying that the roads have been treated for ice. They have not where we are, and they also said that the road was open, and it is not where we are. And so maybe I'm confused about where it said that that was the case, but I don't believe I am.
I know we spoke with
that's where we are.
someone at the towing company earlier, and they said in that 475 area, it was just hard to get to all those people who are out on all the roads, because not only is it hard to get to the sheer number of people out there,
Yes.
but also just their cars having a hard time removing vehicles and being able to help people out. I'm sure a scary situation for you, Lynn. Can you talk about, what it was like overnight having to be out there stuck in your car?
Well, luckily it's just adults in my car, and luckily we have gas, so we were able to keep the car running. We don't have kids. We're not in any emergency situation. It has not been the best of things, but we've got one sick one here in the car, and so and it's there are just things that come with being stranded that does not make it comfortable at all. But it could be worse than it could be worse, put it that way. But it's been an experience for sure. And I don't even know at this point when we're going to get out of it. So.
Yeah, Lynn, I know this is really an unfortunate situation for you and so many other drivers that are on 475 and other interstates in our area that are stranded and can't get anywhere. And for you, you've been stranded since 11 last evening, as you mentioned, and you said you don't know when you will be rescued or whenever you will at least be able to move so that you could perhaps go home or to your destination. But have you been able to talk to anyone, perhaps a tow truck or emergency officials, to maybe get a timeline on this?
No. There's all we've been able to do is keep up with 511. But like I said, that's not even proved to be accurate. And we saw three. Like I said, I think I saw 3 tow trucks come by, but they're going down the road, and and then 1 police car, and that's it. And there's been nobody else to even. I mean, there are some other cars now, barely, but there are some other cars coming down the northbound. I mean, it's not impossible. But I've seen no road crew, no emergency vehicles other than those 3. So I don't know where. I mean, I know that it's there's a lot going on, but there certainly isn't a lot of anything trying to assist this area that I have seen at all.
Well, first and foremost, we are glad that you all are safe and not harmed in all of this, and we hope that we're able to get moved and get to a place of safety as soon as possible. Again, we know our EMA crews and our emergency vehicles are working as hard as they can to clear out some of those big areas where we've seen a lot of buildups.
Right. Lynn, thank you so much. Thank you so much for talking with us this morning, and you guys stay safe out there, and hopefully you can get to your destination soon. And Caitlin, just really an unfortunate situation for those people that are stranded out there in that standstill traffic. I mean, it's almost comparable to an ice rink out there.
And that's what we're hearing from our Department of Transportation. It is a sheet of ice at this point, and that's where they're telling people to please get off the roads. Of course, a lot of the people who are stranded now were on the roads last night and got stuck. So if you can imagine, they're still stuck. Please don't try to get on the roads this morning and get yourself in potentially a similar situation. As she mentioned, people trying to come and clear the roads. Of course, that is a big thing that our Department of Transportation and state officials are trying to do. Yesterday in Governor Kemp's press conference, they said this about giving them the space to do that.
We need that space to work. Those miles of roads don't clear themselves. We've got to get those trucks out there. We've got to get involved. As you might imagine, South Georgia's not accustomed to a lot of snow and ice, and so it's different there. The roads are different. There's a lot of dirt roads that have to be treated differently than just snow plows and brine and things of that nature. So we're going to have to focus on that and making sure we give a proper recovery.
A stern warning from state leaders yesterday ahead of today's result of the winter weather yesterday, and what you're seeing this morning is a result of that. That is why they wanted people who did not need to be out on the roadways to stay home or stay where they were, so that they would not end up in this mess like this. However, if you do find yourself driving like the thousands of people that are on the roadways this morning and you're stopped or stalled, take a look at your screen. Here are some steps that perhaps you can take, or some steps that you could pass along to your loved ones or friends who are out stuck on these roadways. Stay in your vehicle until rescuers are most likely to get to you and find you.
Don't start walking unless you do see a building or a shelter close by. Again, it's best just to stay in your vehicle. Run the engine and the heater for about 10 minutes each hour, and that way you'll keep yourself warm as well as conserve your battery and gas.
We are certainly going to stay on top of that, and we, of course, wish the best for all of our crews out there that are working hard and those poor motorists that are stranded in these icy conditions. Want to take a turn now? Hopefully this is something that can make you smile. Look at this. It is a picture, a panoramic picture that Crystalline sent us of a winter wonderland on their street. You can see the footprints if you look closely and tracks along the driveway. And Kaylin, this is very cool to see. We've been seeing pictures all morning long like this beautiful dog, and I love seeing them.
Yeah, this is Abigail sent this of her dog Marley enjoying the first snow over in Gray. It looks very excited. It's fun to see not just the kids, but all the pups having a good time in the snow too. I know Alex Pry's dog Aspen had some fun in the snow yesterday.
And you were telling me Coco, and she stepped out for a little bit. You know, she got her groove on outside.
She was good until the snow started to get closer up to like her knees and the rest of her legs, and then she said, I'm out of this.
I'm going to go home. Yeah, I'm going to go home. That's a smart move. How about this? One of our viewers sent in a few pictures from Cochrane. The first one was at 7:30 last night, and it looks like they've received just under 3 inches there. And right around 10:30, they then measured nearly 6 inches of snow. Quite interesting, because in Macon, I just kept seeing the snow, those big heavy flakes. They just kept falling. It was 5 in the evening. I said, is it ever going to stop? 6 in the evening, 7 in the evening. It kept going, and we got the accumulation that we did. So a big thank you to all of you for sending in your snow pictures, and please keep sending them in. We have so many, literally an abundance of pictures, and we love that because we want to spread them out in all of our shows so that we can show them off. Of course, do this when it is safe to do so. We don't want you to be exposed to the frigid elements for too long, but we do want to see them. Text the pictures to the number on your screen, 478-752-1309.
All right, we've been checking in with our crews across Central Georgia this morning. Another one of our crews, Sammy Costas, is holed up in her apartment this morning. So, Sammy, what can you share from where you are in Macon?
Yeah, guys, an interesting outlook here off Zebulon Road. We're from my balcony, so you can see kind of an above look of what it looks like right now. All this snow has not really moved from last night. Like you said, it stayed because of this cold. And we're going to punch in a little bit here to the road, as you guys have been talking about how it's some icy conditions out there. You can see all that ice on the pavement. I was walking out just to my car this morning to get something. It is definitely dangerous. Underneath this beautiful powder can be some slushy danger. You don't want to go out there. Even walking can possibly be a bad idea. So make sure you have some grippy shoes on, something like that, to see what you are walking on and to be safe out there. Try not to drive, of course, in these conditions. Right here you can see how much snow we really got off of Zebulon Road. It's beautiful, but of course you want to be safe. Live in Macon, Sammy Costas, 13 WMAZ News.
Sammy, thank you so much. She makes a good point there, too. Even if you're just walking around outside, whether it be going to your car or going to go see the snow, make sure you have good shoes or being careful, because you don't want to slip and fall on the ice either.
You certainly have to be careful. I will say here at the station, our crews, who always work hard, salted our parking lot. So when we left our cars and got into the building, it was safe to do so. But I've noticed a lot of apartment complexes and a lot of parking lots really did not treat for the ice. They didn't spread the salt. And so it's kind of like an ice rink when you're walking from the grocery store or even your apartment, as Sammy just showed us. So you certainly want to be careful out there if you are walking in a parking lot.
Again, we are checking in with areas across Central Georgia this morning to see conditions as we go through this morning. We have Dodge EMA Director Jamie Wilkinson on the phone with us this morning. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, y'all.
What are you seeing out there in Dodge County this morning as the sun comes up?
I think all our Central Georgia counties are seeing about the same thing. Poor road conditions. Most of them's iced over. I think you commented earlier, just like a sheet of ice, and that's exactly what it is, ongoing sheets of ice.
Hey, Jamie, this is Frederick Price. I'm curious, in your respective county, where are some of the problem areas right now that people should be alert about?
Pretty much all roads. If you do not have to get out, we've got up early this morning going and picking up essential employees from their homes and taking them to the hospitals, 911, EMS. So if you do not have to get out or you do not feel comfortable in getting out, please don't. Stay home.
As far as what you all were seeing overnight, did you see a lot of drivers that were stuck? Did you get a lot of calls?
We had a few, and pretty much they were nothing really major. We was able to winch them back and see them safely back to their residence. But nothing really major through the night. I think our biggest issue has been being able to transport, patients to the appropriate level of care that they would need during this time. That's been our major obstacle.
And Jamie, we have only a few hours above freezing today. It's going to be crucial for a lot of melting and unthawing, but then things are going to refreeze tonight. The potential for black ice is going to be kind of a situation for people who do have to brave the conditions later tonight. I'm curious, what are the resources like for you? Is it scarce or are you okay? And really just talk to us about how you all have been preparing for this and how you will continue to make sure that the roads are safe too.
Well, again, for us, this is nothing that, is a norm for us. So we are, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm getting calls coming in. We prepared as best as possible. We got extra crews in, made sure all our equipment's ready to go, placed different four-wheel drive trucks in different areas of the county to reduce response times. And that seemed to be somewhat efficient. And we're just going to continue that. And if anybody needs anything, please just call 911 and we'll do the best we can. But our response times has been diminished by a lot.
We thank you so much for the work that you all are doing out there in Dodge County. A big job to be able to get people, especially those essential workers and patients, to where they need to be, while also helping any drivers out there too. So again, as you've heard from every single person we have spoken to, it's the same thing. Stay off the roads if you can.
Fariha Brar has been in the newsroom all morning long, tracking the latest on the traffic conditions on the interstate and in some of the surface roads around towns. Fariha, what can you tell us at this hour? It's 8:19 this morning.
Well, it looks like all interstates in central Georgia are closed because of frozen ice. That's according to the Perry Police Department, because they posted that on Facebook just about an hour ago. Now, you heard from the Monroe County EMA director. This is not patchy ice. It's edge-to-edge ice, and we're hearing reports of black ice too. That's why the state issued an ice alert. So do not get on the roads unless it's an emergency. That'll help first responders get to help in need and sooner rather than later. And since we started hearing reports of crashes and lane closures over 12 hours ago now, we're still hearing there's stalled lanes with no movement. People have been calling into the newsroom, like you heard the woman earlier. They've been waiting to move for nearly 8 hours now, running low on gas. Terrifying situations that we're going to continue to check on. Now, a few hours ago, Houston County Emergency Management Agency posted every street in the county is impacted. We're getting reports of people seeing several semi-trucks struggling to drive up hills, stalled semis. We heard on the police scanner just about an hour ago that there was an overturned 18-wheeler. It's a crazy situation out there. On Facebook now, the Monroe County Emergency Management Agency shared which streets were going to be blocked off. I'm going to pull that page up for you guys right now so I can take a look at it. It looks like the agency posted 41 South and Shy Road is blocked off because of a U-Haul truck stranded in the southbound lane. A Blount and Gar Road, a stranded cars at the intersection. Smith Road between Collier Road and Harper Lane. There's over 20 vehicles scattered across the ditches, and 75 northbound at the 190 mile marker to Johnsonville Road that extends back to Juliet Road. They're still in the process of being cleared from an earlier blockage. Now, in the northbound lanes of I-75 South near Highway 42 and Lee Street exit, we showed you about an hour ago. That's in Monroe County. The crash cleared. However, the two left lanes are still blocked according to GDOT's Twitter. That was just a few minutes ago. As for more problem areas in the area, we heard about a few crashes along I-16 West near Segota Road. One accident is cleared. Another is still present. We heard on the police scanner in our newsroom at Bass Road and Sweetbriar Trail, a semi-truck is blocking off the road. Also, I-16 West is closed in Bibb County at the I-75 split. And we heard in the newsroom at the bridges at the interchange, very icy. Near Highway 96 in Houston County, there's also I-75 blocked both ways. And ice is preventing people from driving through I-75 South at Sardis Church Road in Bibb County because of ice. I-75 North in Dooley County is also blocked off near Hawkinsville Road. Now, we're going to also pull up some more graphics and video for you guys. We're going to be looking at GDOT's 511 traffic camera over Interstate 475 in Bibb County. Now, we reported an accident there late last night where a tractor trailer jackknifed. It looks like there's still stranded drivers and they're still stuck. I can't imagine what it's like being out there. Someone emailed us to tell us they were being struck with hundreds of drivers. You heard them earlier. It's a terrifying situation that we're going to continue to check on. Now, as you can tell, roads are just a mess. People had to spend the night sleeping in their cars. It's just not safe to drive. Side roads are frozen across central Georgia. The best advice you're going to get, we're telling you, stay over and over and over. Stay home. Enjoy what's left of the snow from your home. We're continuing to check in with our local EMA directors, sheriff's offices, and we're continuing to monitor Georgia's 511 as well for any travel problems. Live in the newsroom, I'm Fari Habrar. We're going to check back in with you after the break.
Good morning. It is 8:25 this morning. Thank you for continuing this on our continued coverage as we keep monitoring situations across central Georgia. Some dangerous driving conditions, a lot of ice on the roads. Of course, the flip side of that too, people enjoying a lot of them their first sight of snow in quite a while.
We have been showing those pictures all morning long, and it has been nice to see those smiles from both kids and pets too. You know, it really takes our mind off of what is happening right now, which we would like to get those conditions right now. Alex, can you kind of tell us how it's looking out there? Because it's quite a mess from what EMA directors are telling us.
Absolutely, yes. We have plenty of current conditions to look at. This is what you're waking up to this morning in central Georgia. Something you definitely don't see maybe once every couple of years here down in the south, but I think this is definitely an unprecedented event. Take a look at all that snow still on the ground at the Georgia National Fairgrounds. Starting to see maybe some puddles of water, maybe a little bit of melting going on, but temperatures are still mighty frigid all across central Georgia. We'll take it over a few counties to the east into Lawrence County. This is what downtown Dublin looks like, a scene out of a Christmas movie. So yes, you can see how messy the roads are down there once again. And then further up to the north, areas to the north didn't quite get as much snowfall as areas further down to the south, but Macon is still looking very beautiful as we take a look from our Macon Skycam on top of Atrium Navicent. And it's good to see not too many people out on the roads on these Skycams. We're going to continue to hammer that point in as we go throughout the rest of of this morning. But obviously continuing to monitor traffic reports, and Faria Abrar has been giving us the latest updates, but I want to give you a view of what she's exactly looking at. So if we take it over to this screen, maybe it'll show, I have to apply it, that's why. So this is what she's taking a look at on the GDOT website. All of these red dots that you see, and even areas where you start to see maybe a yellow circle with a number on it, that's going to be indicative of all these traffic alerts that are blocking lanes, and then on the roads, those yellow colors, that's indicating that traffic is moving slower than usual in those areas. So it is a complete mess on the roads all across central Georgia this morning. Avoid being on the roads until emergency officials do tell you that is okay to go travel out and about. But I want to show you some more photos that we received in the Weather Network. This one pretty impressive and is definitely going to cause David to make another update on our map right here. Hawkinsville, over 7 inches of snow recorded by Rhea Swick down in Pulaski County. That's the highest total that I have seen down in Pulaski County. It is truly astonishing to see all of these accumulations from different areas of central Georgia. And once David Guerrero comes back, he's going to have a shocking number for you that we have recorded on that map. Also, Shannon Rowland down in Dexter sent this video of some snow accumulation on her tabletop. It looks like this is just shy of 6 inches, maybe about 5.5 inches. That has been the story. Areas further to the south over exceeded expectations, what we were originally thinking. We thought 4 inches might be the max, and then we upgraded it to possibly about 6 inches. Some areas even went above and beyond that. But also, if you're venturing out this morning, it is frigid. Temperatures are already low enough. Almost everyone into the teens, something we don't say too often in central Georgia. Feels like numbers, okay, not quite as low as they have been. Obviously, you see some of those single digits up there. Americus just a little bit ago felt like 2 degrees this morning. It feels like 4 degrees in northern Dooley County. It is frigid, so be sure to bundle up and take the proper precautions if you're going to play out in the snow, and obviously continue to stay off the roads throughout this morning. And we're going to continue to keep you updated with local EMA directors and here with our 13 WMAZ crew. Frederick and Caitlin.
Thank you so much. I mean, just looking at those frigid temperatures, I mean, prolonged exposure to the cold temperatures, I mean, obviously causes hypothermia and things like that. But my goodness, so many school districts taking precautionary measures to be out just so that staff and students could be safe. One of those counties, Bleckley County, too.
Bleckley County, one of the areas where we've seen some of our heaviest snowfall and the most amount of snowfall. We're going to check in with Matthew Kelly there, the EMA director. Can you hear us this morning?
Yes, I can.
What are you seeing out there in Bleckley County? I know you all got a good bit of the snow last night.
Well, I know at my house we measured at 4.5 inches, and I know there's some places might have an inch more than that.
And what are you seeing this morning as some of that snow is now turning to ice, especially out on the roads?
Yeah, the roads were blanketed with snow this morning. You can see where people have tried to maneuver through it. I guess they were the lucky ones. What's happening, some of it is refreezing. I got 17 degrees showing on my truck right now, so once you drive through it and it melts it some, it's starting to refreeze over. So roadways are still very slippery, and we still, ask folks if they don't have to be out on the roadways, not to be.
Matthew, are there any reports of any rescues, any stranded motorists or people that have called 911 or called emergency services for help?
Fortunately, here in Bleckley, we've had 2 calls with vehicles that left the roadway. No major damage or injuries with that. It's just they just had to be pulled out of the ditch.
Are there any particular areas that you're seeing in your county that are worse than others?
No, so far what I've seen is pretty much the same from one end of the county to the next. It's like a winter wonderland. Everything's blanketed with snow.
That's beautiful until you start driving to drive out on the roads.
Oh yeah.
That's it. That's exactly right.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you checking in with us, and thank you for all the work you all are doing to prepare and help now that the ice is here.
Yes. Thank you all.
Yeah, 2 people. That's a pretty good number compared to what a lot of other counties are unfortunately dealing with this morning. We want to check in with Camila Williams, who is braving the cold conditions. Fortunately, she's staying safe, though. She's out in our backyard garden. Camila, how are things looking out there?
Well, certainly, yeah. I'm staying safe in my little circle here that I've just decided to stay put in. But listen, I know many kids are eager to just get outside and play. But I know many of you are just like, I'm not having it. I'm going to stay indoors. So I've got some tips for you to remember if you are staying warm inside. So remember, if you have a space heater, the American Red Cross says keep it away from any flammable items at least 3 feet. Best thing you can do is just keep it on its own little top or table and leave it by itself. Now, if you plan to leave a room for a long period of time where that space heater is, you make sure to turn it off. The best thing you can do is just unplug it. I promise you it'll still plug right back in when you come back and it'll be okay. That purpose is so that it doesn't overheat and it catches fire, because that is when we come into problems. Now, if you have a generator, do not operate it indoors. Using it indoors can produce carbon monoxide, and that odorless and colorless gas, I'm telling you, it is deadly if inhaled. And what you can do is connect that equipment you want to power directly to the outlet on the generator. So like we said, make sure you're staying warm. If you do plan to go outside, you have the right precautions on. So a hat, gloves, double up on the coats if you can. So I'm talking a sweater and then a waterproof coat. Put on those pants. Make sure you have on your boots with the socks. And the best tip I can give you is a plastic bag. Double up on those for your feet, because then water can't seep through, and it prevents the water from seeping through, or that ice or snow that's going to, if you plan on walking around and you're stumping around, or the kids are, that's what's going to help them, prevent them from getting hypothermia or frostbite if they plan to stay outside for a long period of time. Frederick, Caitlin.
Camila, thank you so much. Important to stay safe on the roads and at home, too, if you're planning to be out in the snow. Of course, as these temperatures just continue to drop and just become more frigid, there are several centers that are helping this week for those who need a warm place to stay. In Houston County, the warming shelter in Warner Robins is opening each night at 5. There's also transportation to No Limit Baptist Church should you need it, starting at 6 p.m. The center plans to keep their doors open through Saturday. And in Macon, the Salvation Army on Broadway is giving people a warm place to stay as well. They start letting women and families in at 4:30. Men can start coming in at 5. They do ask people to get there before 11 each night. And so we thank those people who are giving our unhoused community, and as we heard from one of our EMA directors, some of the people who've been stranded on the roads, they've been taking them to warming shelters so that they can ride out some of these temperatures before they can go home. All right, but of course, with some of this, we are also having some fun with the snow, and a lot of families sending us photos. The Booth family, one of them, they had a great time out in the snow. Everyone was bundled up, too. And that was ice on their windshield this morning.
Oh, my goodness. Lori over in Byron sending us this photo. Look at all of that snow, something that area has not seen for quite some time. Lori says she measured around 3 inches of snow last night. Wow.
This is pretty neat to see, too. One of our viewers over in Warner Robins sending us this photo from their backyard. Just all that snow on the ground. It is beautiful, and up in the tree branches too, just like a postcard. I'm sure it's very cold out there, but beautiful to see.
Oh yeah, so many picture moments. Take a look at this video. Terry Wade's hitting us this just a few minutes ago as he let out his chickens out of the coop. It looks like they're very curious about the snow, as one who probably has never seen it would be. I'm not sure if they're very pleased about it, though. What do you say, Caitlin?
You don't think they're excited about it?
You are so funny. They had a similar reaction to Coco, too.
All right, we're going to check in across central Georgia as we continue to monitor situations across our area. We just saw some pictures from Warner Robins. Dublin also looked like a winter wonderland this morning. Celine Arif is there this morning. Celine, what are you seeing now?
Hello. Well, good morning from Dublin, Georgia. What you're seeing right now is US 441 behind me. Look at this truck. I don't know if you can tell actually, but that is coming in. We saw a GDOT truck earlier too. And it looks like some progress is being made on the roads. They are getting, shout out to everybody from GDOT and all the essential workers working right now really hard to kind of get our roads cleared. But I'm telling you, the roads are still kind of icy in Dublin. It's really hard to even see the lanes on the road because they're covered in snow, y'all. So they're kind of treating it, I've been seeing drivers as just like everyone's staying in the middle lane for the most part and just treating it like a one lane road. I can tell you that we've also seen some sheriff's deputies and some police officers out here. All the essential workers are on the road. We've seen some other folks, and I really hope they're, not really safe if you absolutely need to get out onto the roads. I know the city of Dublin is closed down today, and They posted about that on Facebook. You can check them out on Facebook for more updates about more details that you can expect from the city. But one place that is open today, hopefully you won't need them, but if you do need to go to the hospital, Fairview Park is open and they are ready to serve you. I talked to them and some of their staff actually stayed overnight to make sure they can be ready to go first thing in the morning when they're needed. So shout out to all the hospital staff and employees working today. And I also did want to let you guys know that it is so beautiful right now. It's kind of glistening with the sun kind of out right now. But we're going to send you more updates from Dublin, Georgia, where it is pretty as a picture. For now, sending it back to you guys live from Dublin, Georgia. I'm Celine of 13 WMAZ News.
All right, thank you so much, Celine. Glad you're having fun out there, but also staying safe. Of course, we're getting reports from people all across central Georgia putting their measuring tapes in the snow to see how much snow they're waking up to this morning.
The accumulation is remarkable. David Guerrero has been here all morning long kind of telling us about this. And David, what's so interesting kind of out of our viewing area in the southern half of the United States, places like Florida, New Orleans saw accumulation. But what about central Georgia, another place that is not accustomed to the snow that we saw overnight?
Yeah, that's right. We've received a couple of changes over the past couple of 30 minutes. The biggest one was in Crist County. Earlier, Crist County had the highest total overall, but now we've received a report from the Crist County Sheriff's Office. We officially have 9 inches of snow in Crist County, so it is blowing everyone out of the water. Now, another change was Wilkinson County. We have received a new report of 3 inches of snow for Wilkinson County. All in all, the general trend is lower totals towards the north, higher totals towards the south, especially with that new number in Crist County. And if you see your county with a highlighted shade of yellow, that means that your county has officially broken the record of the highest amount of snowfall or snow accumulation in central Georgia for your county. Now, you could also notice that there's some counties that have been left out. They're in pure gray. That doesn't mean that you didn't see snow. It means that we haven't received any measurements from you yet. So we encourage you to please send in measurements, especially if you don't see your county here, and we will greatly appreciate that.
Okay. that we have seen here in Central Georgia. A beautiful sight, of course, also can be kind of a dangerous sight if you're out on the roads this morning.
It has caused quite a mess on the interstates, 475 and I-75. Off the top of my head, we talked to one woman who was stranded on 475, and she kind of gave us the latest conditions as to what she's seeing. Stranded since 11 o'clock last evening. Really just emphasizes how bad things are. We're going to head over to Alex Pryor, who has the latest on the forecast and what we can expect today, Alex. And you just told us that your mom sent you a video of your backyard, and you are astounded by what you saw.
I have never seen my backyard look like it currently does right now, and many of you in Central Georgia probably feel the same way with your yards or just many common scenes that you're used to seeing every day that's now covered in that white powder all across the area. Dublin, no exception to that. Obviously, you can see, just like Solene was mentioning a little bit ago, it is hard to see where the lanes are on the roads. Obviously, you can see where some of that snow is more worn down, where cars continue to travel over it. Once again, do not travel on the roads until we tell you, emergency officials tell you that it is good to go, and obviously our fair share of traffic reports continuing to come in. And it's not just us trying to hammer this point home, it's also all these news stations and officials across the Gulf Coast, Atlantic Coast, in northern Florida, if you can believe it or not, because ice and snow are still on the ground with this cold Arctic blast. Obviously, that's the numbers for Perry, so that isn't what is currently going on, but continuing to show you some of these photos that we are seeing all throughout this morning. We have a couple counties that haven't sent us any measurements, or we just haven't found them. I mean, we have thousands of pictures that you guys have sent in, so please continue to do so. We're talking some areas that you haven't seen on that map that David continues to show, but how about almost 8 inches of snow down in Hawkinsville that Rhea Swig did send in, and then Shannon Rowland sending this picture in Dexter, very similar, only about 5.5 inches, but some areas in Central Georgia have gotten above 7 inches, above 8 inches. We've received reports of 9 inches down in Chris County. Buffalo, New York, here we come. I never thought I would say those numbers of snowfall accumulation in Central Georgia. So our temperatures right now are still mighty frigid. That's something else you want to be aware of heading out the door, because many of you are going to enjoy this last little bit of snow this morning, but also especially being on the roads. You've heard about those people that we've contacted that are stranded on the roads. Well, obviously you only have so much gas in your car, and if you're running low, these temperatures are mighty frigid. You're definitely going to want to be in the heat as much as possible, and along with that, the feels like numbers are still in the single digits across many areas of Central Georgia. Still feels like 4 degrees this morning in northern Dooley County in Unadilla. So hour by hour, our temperatures will slowly warm up. You'll see from about noon to maybe into 3 o'clock on this hour by hour temperatures map that we will finally get above freezing temperature for a brief period. That will lead to better melting of snow. But obviously snow can still melt even when it is sunny outside, which is what we currently have right now. It's through a different process we call sublimation as opposed to evaporation. But enough with the science lesson. It is just going to be downright cold all across Central Georgia. Hopefully we will get a good enough window to allow for most of this frozen precipitation to begin to melt. So the satellite is all clear. Plenty of sunny skies are the story. And going through future view, once again, 1 o'clock going to be when we finally crawl above freezing temperature, and then about 5-6 o'clock after sunset, we will get back below freezing temperature, resulting in the refreezing of areas that did melt into a liquid. And then Thursday going to be rather cloudy, so that's going to limit the melting as well, even though temperatures will be a touch warmer Thursday afternoon as opposed to this afternoon, and hopefully getting our fair share of sunshine by Friday. Now we take it long range, still plenty of sunshine around for the weekend, and then we welcome in our next rain chance as we go into Monday. But a lot of ground to go before we get there. It's going to be cold, and still continue to monitor how long this frozen precipitation will stay on the ground. Caitlin, Frederick.
All right, Alex, thank you so much. Of course, the big takeaway of the morning and what we keep trying to hammer home is that we want people to stay off the roads as much as possible this morning.
We have been reporting several accidents market-wide in Central Georgia. So many people stranded on the interstate. So many people have slid off the roads, and our emergency responders doing an amazing job rescuing as many people as they can. But we did hear from one EMA director telling us that their response time is limited because that so many roads and interstates are literally encrusted with ice, and they can't safely get to people who need help right now.
And that is one of the biggest things with staying off the roads is not only for yourself, but for our emergency personnel too. I know we are trying to talk to someone with Georgia State Patrol. I know they've been busy overnight with trying to get to some of these stranded drivers, reporting multiple accidents, over 200 calls of people who've been stuck
Yeah, my goodness. I mean, and when you think about places like Chris County got 9 inches of snow, of course you are going to have those travel impacts. We have Georgia State Patrol on the line with us now. Can you hear us this morning?
I sure can.
Hi there, Captain Zion. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here with us on this very snowy and icy, frankly unprecedented day in central Georgia. Can you kind of tell us what you have seen since you've been at work?
Yes, our troopers and our NCO officers across the state, we've worked over 564 calls throughout, 103 crashes, and done at least 104 motorist assists. And that doesn't even include what, our local jurisdictions have done, our brothers and sisters in blue, as we've moved across the state trying to get people safely home.
Wow, that is an astounding number and multiple numbers you just shared with us. Talk about what you're seeing as you're trying to get to some of these drivers and respond to some of these crashes, because I can't imagine it's easy for you all to get to them either.
No. I think a lot of agencies have, said we can only respond if it's an emergency at this point, just because of the icy conditions across Georgia. Those patches of ice is what's really getting people. I think they're sliding off roadways, and then response is having to go to them, and then the roads get backed up, and then DOT can't be out there using the brine trucks. So yeah, if you can stay home, please stay home.
That is the advice that we have been reiterating to people all morning long, Captain Zion. One area that we have been watching closely, 475, it is a major traffic incident. Can you give us what you know about that, what you have been hearing, perhaps what you have seen?
I haven't seen anything myself in that area, but I do know that ice has been the biggest issue on a lot of these reasons for the roads being closed. Is we've had vehicles sliding across the roadways, and obviously then we have to shut it down for wreckers. Then it starts to get backed up. More cars start sliding, and before you know it, we've got a major incident. So I don't know if that's the case for the 475 one, but I know that's what we're seeing across the state.
Are there any particular other areas that you have been focused on other than 475?
Mainly it's the interstates. Trying to keep the interstates moving is one of our big important things for us. And then our local roadways as well, but the interstates, that's where we've been focusing, trying to get people, stranded motorists, anybody who's had any kind of incident, getting them off the road into safety.
Well, Captain Zion, we really do appreciate you for talking to us this morning and painting the picture of reality for so many people in central Georgia that are on the highways and even some of the surface roads. And I really do hope that you all continue to stay safe and stay warm as you are on this Herculean task to rescue those in need and help those people who need your help. Again, Captain Zion with Georgia State Patrol, thank you again this morning.
Thank you.
We continue to look at areas across central Georgia. They just mentioned so many areas are seeing these backups, people sliding on the roads. Freya Barr's been in our newsroom checking in with Georgia Department of Transportation too, looking at some of the hardest hit areas, some of the road closures that we've been seeing. I think we can go out to her now and see if she has any updates for us this morning.
And actually, right before I get into that, let me just read you this tweet from the Georgia Department of Public Safety. Between 6 p.m. of last night and 6 a.m. today, they've had 496 total calls for service. That includes 91 motor assists, and get this, 94 total crashes. It's just unbelievable. We also just got this release from the Bibb County Sheriff's Office. They're telling people to avoid I-75 north and southbound along the I-475 area due to the road conditions. They're going to work with GDOT to get the roads open, but I was looking at our GDOT 511 page. It looks like south of our coverage area appears to have the most alerts. You were seeing that Alex was able to pull up earlier. Now, all interstates in central Georgia are closed because of frozen ice, so we're continuing to follow the updates that we're seeing from the local emergency management agencies. Perry, Warner Robins, Houston County, all of them are saying stay home, avoid the streets. You were able to hear the Monroe County EMA director talk about this is not patchy ice, it's edge-to-edge ice. And we're still hearing reports of black ice too. So the state issued an ice alert. Now, you're probably looking at the I-475 area where there's still stalled vehicles. As you can see, it's a lot of stranded drivers and they're still stuck. We got to hear from one earlier this morning. They were telling us how terrifying terrifying of a situation it is. We're going to continue to check back on that as it's continuing to flow through the day. Now, in the northbound lanes of I-75 near Highway 42 and Lee Street in Monroe County, they're crash cleared earlier, but the two left lanes are still blocked according to GDOT's Twitter. As for other problem areas, we heard from a few crashes along I-16 west near Segota Road. One is cleared, another is still present. We heard on the police scanner in our newsroom at Bass Road and Sweetbriar Trail, a semi-truck is blocking the road off. Along I-16 west in Bibb County at the I-75 split, the bridges at the interchange are icy. Near Highway 96 in Houston County, I-75 is blocked both ways. Ice is preventing people from driving through I-75 at Sardis Church Road because of the ice, and I-75 north in Dooley County is blocked because of the ice near Hawkinsville Road. So as you can tell, it's a mess. Many drivers had to spend the night sleeping in their cars. Side roads are frozen in central Georgia. The best thing you can do is just stay home, enjoy what's left of the snow with your family, with loved ones from the confines of your home. We're going to continue to check in with our local emergency agencies and sheriff's offices as we continue to monitor Georgia's 511 as well. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Fariha Abrar. Caitlin, Frederick, we'll check in a little bit.
All right, thank you so much, Fariha. That list continues to get longer of these roads that are covered in ice. At one point, pretty much some of these EMA directors are saying all of them.
Yeah.
It's easier to tell you that they're all covered in ice than to tell you the ones that aren't.
And that picture, that sky cam, the traffic camera there on 475, I mean, I thought that there was an error with that camera because sometimes those cameras no, those semi-trucks were stuck there because I saw a car that was trying to progress. I mean, it's comparable to an ice rink. I can only imagine what those drivers had to endure overnight and what they're enduring now, especially our emergency crews that are going and kind of risking their lives to help, those people that are stranded.
And we heard in Governor Brian Kemp's press conference yesterday saying, hey, when this happens and we get some of these big buildups of cars, not only are we not able to get to the drivers who are stranded, we also can't treat the roads to get those drivers out because we can't get there. So this is what they had to say during that press conference yesterday.
We need that space to work. Those miles of roads don't clear themselves. We've got to get those trucks out there. We've got to get involved. As you might imagine, South Georgia's not accustomed to a lot of snow and ice, and so it's different there. The roads are different. There's a lot of dirt roads that have to be treated differently than just snow plows and brine and things of that nature. So we're going to have to focus on that and making sure we give a proper recovery.
Yeah, it's kind of ubiquitous, but I mean, their warning to stay off of the roads is something that we've been reiterating all morning long, and it's the best thing that you can do. If you do, however, have to be in these conditions and you do find yourself stuck, it is important to stay in your vehicle until rescuers can get to you.
Don't start trying to walk around unless you do see a building or a shelter close by. Keep your engine running and the heater running for about 10 minutes each hour. That way you can stay warm, but also conserve your battery and gas as you're waiting for those emergency crews to be able to get to you.
Well, as we progress throughout the day, we are sending more crews out there to report on the conditions. We have Sammy Costas, who is at her apartment, so fortunately she is safe. But Sammy, what can you share with us this morning? How are things looking from your perspective?
Yeah, guys, you're talking a lot about walking and driving conditions, and of course we want to stay within walking distance, but I know a lot of us who grew up in the South like I did in Tennessee, we don't have a lot of snow boots, we have rain boots, and they don't have the best traction. So let's take a look kind of also at what the sidewalks are looking like here. They're also covered in ice, guys. We want to be safe out here while we're walking. Make sure you have the best traction you can. Just all this snow has stayed. Nothing's moving. Anything that was slush last night is now that ice that we're talking about. And you want to stay safe. You can see right here just the snow on my balcony, how much that we really got here off of Zebulon Road in Macon, central Georgia. Not snow that we normally see in these parts, so you want to be safe. I know a lot of people also don't know how to drive in the snow because we don't see it very often, so that can also be kind of dangerous, so you want to stay home. Macon, Sammy Costas, 13 WMAZ News.
All right, thank you, Sammy. Glad you are staying safe in your apartment this morning and staying warm. Of course, this weather impacting a lot of our cities and our counties and their services, including trash pickup in Macon Bibb. No trash will be running today. If your trash pickup is usually today, that's going to move to Thursday, so on and so on. It'll be delayed a day.
Similar move in Jones County. No trash pickup. Important note, no makeup days for those missed days, so trash will be picked up Regular schedule next week. As of now, Thursday and Friday traps will be picked up. They'll be running later than normal.
Well, we thank you so much for continuing to join us through this extended coverage here this morning. We hope that you all are enjoying the snow and enjoying the beautiful sights of something we don't see often, but also please stay safe on the roads.
We're back to regularly scheduled programming. Certainly has been a remarkable day. Stay safe out there. We'll see you guys later. Connect with us on 13 WMAZ+.